there, y'all. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. What's up? What's up? How's it going this morning? Here we are. Here we are. It's Tuesday. Don't we all love Tuesday? Let me try to welcome in. Welcome through, everybody. Hello. Having to refigure out some things this morning. Oh, there we go. All right. What is going on? This is the channel where you can watch an undereducated hick from Alabama perform an intellectual takedown of the Christian faith, doctrine, and logic for your entertainment. But also, in an attempt to make the world a better place, to combat the ridiculous rise of this ridiculous Christian nationalism that we see today, which is indeed ridiculous for many reasons. Anyway, come and embark on this journey with me to debate Christians and sometimes Hebrew Israelites. And every once in a great while, the Muslim says words too at the screen. So that's pretty cool. If you didn't know, Dr. Joshua Bowen is our best friend on this channel, and he writes scholarly books that are awesome. And you can purchase them and support our best friend Dr. Josh and his wonderful family and learn a whole bunch of awesome knowledge at the same time. He writes books like The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testaments, Volume 1 and 2. And both are awesome. Both have incredible knowledge that are specifically geared toward combating apologetics. Just for stuff like this. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? The J got cut off my Jesus here. Maybe it won't be too big of an issue today. If it is, we'll just switch back over to my previous picture there. The other one was a little bit too high, I think. But anyway, also, don't forget, the Rocket City Reason Conference is going down in Huntsville, Alabama this October, the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. And you can come hang out with some of the biggest atheist debaters and YouTubers there are, some of the best master debaters on the planet anywhere. You can come hang out with them. You can get your tickets for that at rocketcityreason.com. Come hang out with us. It'll be super, super fun. I don't know. I don't know. There's atheists in Alabama. Not many, but there is some. Anyway, we're all going to hang out. You can come too if you want. If you don't, then fuck on off with you. We do not care. It'll be fun. Oh, yeah. This must be a Christian here. Little butthurt Christian is mad somebody don't believe his stuff. Oh. Anyway. Well, good morning to everyone. Welcome in, Crazy Christian there. No, but we did get some cold as shitness. No snow, but it's cold as shit, that's for sure. Must be a Christian. What Christian do you know from Kazakhstan? I know two. I know Chris and Robert, both from Kazakhstan. Both Christians, very devout. Any more questions? Anyway, as usual, we are looking to debate with either Christians or Hebrew Israelites. And if you are one of them, we would like to talk to you. If you are capable of a conversation, like an adult, I'm going to switch back to this other one here. I'm going to switch back to this one for now. That other one, I ain't feeling the, I made the things too big there. Yes, there is. There's one named Chris and there's one named Robert. And they're both from Kazakhstan. And they're both devout Christians, so fuck you. Yeah, those are my homeboys from Kazakhstan. They're Christian as shit, man. You know, they probably don't openly display it because, you know, it's dangerous and stuff over there. The debates are up here. We got some topics at the top of the board. I'm glad you're new to though. It could be one of them asshole Islams. Some of them aren't assholes, but some are too. But anyway, welcome in, welcome through, welcome to the show. This is where it's happening. Where the TikTok algorithm creepy freaking crawls in the morning. Good morning, precious things. Sure, ask away. We don't mind. But if you are a Christian, all you got to do is request up. You can be the first guest of the day, but we've only barely been on for 5 minutes yet, so the algorithm is barely moving. I guess they're talking. Anyway, come on in, come on through. Welcome to This Is the One. Yes, I do. Because the Bible says God condones slavery. So, yeah. I don't consider it a religion. There's nothing to... Religion's more like the only type of definition that you can relate atheism to is like basically a football team. Like if you're really into a football team, you can technically be a religion, I guess. You religiously like something, but there's no reverence for a deity or nothing like that. 99. Oh, never mind. Sorry. Yes, we do agree God condones slavery because the God of the Bible is a horrible, horrible deity and allows many atrocious things. But no, I don't. Atheism's definitely not a religion. And the fact that religious people call it a religion in a negative connotation is beyond ironic and hilarious. Probably so. Kind of like me. I was just indoctrinated, kind of raised that way. So, never really even had a chance to combat it in my head until I got older. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was really hard to read. Oh, Tanya. That was really small. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. And welcome in, everybody. Waiting on the first guest of the day. All right. Yeah. Hopefully, like yesterday was actually the last week or so has been kind of a struggle to get guests to talk to, but you know, we still get some. Yesterday was a decent day. We had some laughs. We talked to some characters. We talked to some characters yesterday. Also unveiled that I will no longer be bridling my redneck accent. I'm just gonna let it all come out. If you can't understand me, just ask me to repeat myself, I guess. Let's go to God. Well, maybe we got somebody here. Let's see. Look at something else first. All right. I don't even know how to say that. Let's go to God. What's up, man?
Hey man, how you doing?
Doing all right. You're over 18?
Yeah, brother. I'm 28.
Cool. Are you one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah, brother. So I'm an evangelical Christian, but I don't really. I don't know. I'm a bit of a different type of Christian, but I don't mean that in like a weird way. I'm just curious, brother, like what exactly do you consider to be unjust about like is you're saying is the Trinity unjust, or are you on about just a specific part of the Trinity? So you on about the Father specifically or Jesus? Like what's kind of the deal, just so I can understand like your
well, the Trinity don't
process.
have nothing to do with justice. That's just an incoherent concept to me. Justice is getting what you deserve. Like if you actually define justice, it's in the interest of fairness, getting what you deserve. It's an eye for an eye. If you do the crime, you do the time, and also the punishment has to fit the crime, or that wouldn't be justice. Would you say all that's pretty reasonable?
Yeah, 100%. I believe, obviously, like, yeah, 100% with you, mate. If you commit an action against somebody, then you have to be like punished accordingly. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So, would you agree with me in saying that it would never be considered justice that, just for example, say you committed a crime, but instead of you getting a punishment, we punished like all your kids for what you did instead of you?
Oh, okay. I sort of see where you're going with this. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I say God's unjust.
If you were to have kids and yeah, they were penalized due to your actions, and yeah, that is obviously unjust because they are innocent in it.
Oh,
So yeah. Um,
yeah. Well, that's why God's unjust because He punishes people all the time for other people's crimes, for crimes they were completely innocent of,
do you?
including babies.
Okay, okay. Could you elaborate on that if that's okay?
Yeah,
I'm
just
not
for
trying to get
yeah,
you or
of
nothing.
course. Yeah, no, it's all right. Um, So, just one example of this is from 2 Samuel chapter 12, when David commits adultery with Bathsheba and unalives her husband Uriah the Hittite. God has 10 of David's wives great for this, even though David doesn't actually get any punishment. And God personally unalives David and Bathsheba's infant son after making it sick for a week because of what David did. Obviously, a baby didn't have nothing to do with it.
Very true, very true. But and I might be wrong here. So if there are any other Christians in the chat, feel free to obviously like jump in and take over if I'm getting this wrong. But when God like takes the life of like a baby, for instance, I'm not justifying it, but what I'm saying is like babies are innocent souls. So when, for example, you know, like the event of Passover, obviously when God like sent the Spirit to like wipe out all the firstborn sons of like Egypt and that. You remember that story, obviously, won't you? You know
Yeah,
which one I'm
yeah,
talking about. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
obviously he took like innocent babies as well from that. However, there is like a lot of scholars that I've spoke to which say like humanitarian a human like from a human's perspective, it obviously looks horrible. But when God is unaliving these innocent babies, and I'm using quotation marks really, but when God is like unaliving these children, He is actually giving them like eternal life in paradise with Him. So yes, He is. I guess you could say He is committing like a heinous act. I guess, but from an omnipotent, like immortal
You
being that
guess.
literally has the well, if you got to think of it like they fair enough they're dying in the material realm, they're dying on earth, right? But
Yeah. And
like
they're not
God
just
is
dying, they're
taking their
suffering
souls.
first. They're having their brains bashed out and being made sick for a week
Oh
beforehand.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, they're suffering and they're
yeah.
being
No, I
punished for
understand that.
wickedness. So, I seriously doubt they get to go to heaven.
No, no, I understand. Obviously, the suffering side is obviously not ideal, and obviously there are parts of the book and that which obviously do seem a bit strange to us as humans, yeah. But fundamentally, like if you are I'm using obviously I'm using the story of obviously Moses, right, as my main kind of counter, if that makes sense. But like when he takes obviously the life of children, like he is giving them eternal paradise in heaven. We are looking at it like more from a human side because we're saying, well, why would he take the lives of innocent babies? And obviously, like, yeah, it's a bit, but there are a lot of
Well, like I said, it's a little bit worse than just, he's not just poofing them out of existence. They're being bashed to pieces and put to swords and suffering first. Like, this isn't
which part
just poof, like,
which part is that? Just out of curiosity, I'm not trying to get you nothing. I'm genuinely like having a dialogue. You know what I mean?
oh, yeah, I got you. No, yeah, that's fine.
No, that's fine.
So in 2 Samuel 12, it literally says, the Lord struck the child whom Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became very ill. And then 7 days later, it unalives.
Oh wow,
He also has 10 of David's wives graped for this crime.
my bad, my
And
bad. Then
obviously, the 10 women had nothing to do with this stuff.
okay, fair enough. I mean, there may be other there may be other parameters like in regards to that story. I don't think I'm 100% familiar with that. I'm a bit of a new age Christian, so I'm still like learning my way. Do you know what I'm saying? I might have to read that. Whereabouts is that actually, if you don't mind?
2 Samuel 12.
Okay, yeah.
Story of David and Bathsheba.
No, I'll have to give that a look. I'll definitely have to give that a look. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not gonna argue with you there. Obviously, I think you have got a pretty good point. So I won't argue with you that. If you think he's unjust, that's fair enough. I'm just curious though, because also,
do you think that's unjust?
I mean, I'm not God, so I don't believe I think from a human side, like I said, I think from a human side, yes, it's cruel. It's not ideal to obviously have children being like going through suffering, and I don't condemn. I don't not condemn that. Sorry, I don't condone that. Sorry. But I also
don't condone God's actions.
I don't condone obviously like the death of children. However, I also don't believe I am of the same wisdom as God. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it's right.
I mean, you've got like simple intellect in your head, don't you?
Yeah, of course. But I also do.
So I also given the reason these things are happening. So I mean, it's simple logic. The baby didn't have anything to do with this, and the baby's being made to suffer and die. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, there's no way out of that.
No, that's fair enough, and that is a fair point. But if we were going to use like stuff like that, if we were going to use like the death or persecution or whatever of like a certain person, whether it's a child or not, you could talk about how the Christians being genocided over in like Africa at the moment. Like you could sort of ask like, what's going on there? Do you get what I'm saying? And you kind of see
what's going on there.
Oh yeah, same. but you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think. Have you read the New Testament then? I'm assuming you have. Like you seem like you. Yeah.
I've read it all.
No, that's fair enough. Were you a Christian before you kind of came to this conclusion?
Yeah, a little over 2 decades actually.
Okay, yeah. So you've been in the spirit then for like a better part of your life then. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I don't know, man. Personally, I'm going from my own like personal experience like with being a Christian and that. As I said, I'm kind of new age. I've only been a Christian like properly for maybe around like 2.5 years. You know, but I think a lot of the stuff that the Bible teaches, like, we have come away from that. And I think there's a lot of evidence in the way the world is sort of going at the moment. And it kind of seems like it's all getting chaotic because we've come away from like
it's getting better because we came away from this.
What about the world would you consider to be better then? Just out of curiosity.
Well, like, God allows slavery in the Bible, so if we were still going by the Bible, there would still be slaves, and would still set women on fire for certain crimes, and
I don't know about that
until they unalive for other stuff.
I don't know about that. I don't know which part you're exactly referencing, but I know Jesus talks about slavery, and I spoke to a scholar about this like a while ago, and like Roman slaves weren't like slaves the way we understand it. It was like an occupation. It was like if you owed someone money, then you
were owned as property and didn't get paid for.
Yeah, but it was like if you had like outstanding debts with someone, it was like you were an I can't remember the word. I think it was like indentured slave or something.
A debt slave.
Yeah, there you go. My bad.
Still slavery.
Yeah, it is a form of slavery, but it's not a form of slavery where you're completely lack of free. I mean, I might be wrong. I'm not obviously telling you.
Well, you are wrong. It definitely makes a distinguishment. It allows debt slavery and chattel slavery. It says you can acquire slaves from the nations around you, and from the foreigners residing with you, and from their families who are with you who have been born into your land. It says you can pass them on to your children as inherited property.
Is that in the Old Testament? Is that in Torah sort of stuff?
Yeah, Leviticus. And
yeah. Okay, no, fair enough. I thought that's what you were getting at. That's fair enough. Yeah. No, that's fair. I actually can't argue against that. I won't lie. But I'm going by like what I believe Jesus said. about like slavery, which obviously, I mean, again, I might be wrong, but from what I understand, in like, because it was like Roman times as well, wasn't it? So they did have like slavery as an occupation then. Like it wasn't.
Sure,
But
sure, but it was the
but
same
again, I
thing.
might be wrong.
I
I'm
mean, it
not a
was
historian.
owning people as property. It's chattel slavery.
Yeah, no, I don't agree like with owning a person at all. But
Oh, well, you disagree with God,
but there
then,
are
because God
parts in
allows
that
that.
which I do think need to be addressed, which is like it was an occupation, and you were kind of
It's not
owned by
it's
that
not an
person up
occupation.
until your. But it
They
was
make you
but they
do
were
an
owned.
occupation, but it's
But they
yeah,
were owned
exactly.
till owned quotations till they paid off their debt
Look,
basically,
no,
and then they
the
were given
only
freedom. I
difference
correct?
in slavery in Rome and slavery in like the antebellum South in America is the job they did. Like in the
Oh, okay.
ancient world, like if you specialized in a job, you would still do that job most of the time, or they would just send you to hard labor stuff. But
Okay,
in the
okay.
antebellum South, they only needed you for a couple things. You were either like a servant in a house or you worked on a property. That was it. That's the
Okay,
only
okay.
difference in Roman slavery and American slavery.
Okay, yeah, but that's my point. Like I thought, again, I might be wrong. I'm here just to get as many of my questions answered as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, that's what I thought. And again, I might be wrong, but I thought Roman like slavery was you were owned till you paid off your debt, and then you was given like freedom again, kind of thing.
If you
Like,
went into slavery over a death, then yeah. But if not, you can be taken as like war plunder or something like that,
okay,
and you're a slave for life. Like
all
there's
right, that's
no
fair enough. No, that's fair
that
enough. That's
wasn't a
fair enough.
debt slavery. And if they have kids, you're born into slavery. You're owned
Right.
being born at the moment you're born.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Same
No, that's fair.
difference.
No, that's fair, man. That's fair. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So that's fair enough, brother. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
In Exodus, it says you can sell your daughter as a slave, and she will not go out as the male slaves do. And it says
that is a bit.
if whoever you sell her to don't like her, he can dismiss her, and he can't resell her if he does, if she's an Israelite, because
Okay.
then she's been violated and dishonored.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair, brother. I'm just curious, if you don't mind me asking you this. What do you actually think about like Jesus's teachings? Then, like, surely you must surely you must agree that some of the stuff he did say was like beautiful, right? And obviously, like his sacrifice,
Sure,
obviously as well. Do you know what I
there's
mean?
good stuff like in Leviticus. Like Leviticus says, love your neighbor as yourself, right? That's not so bad. But if you
Yeah,
flip
it's
a page
good,
or two, it says you can own your neighbor as property. So
yeah, that's
it's kind
fair.
of gets a little overshadowed by
By
the other
some
stuff that's
stuff.
going in here. Like this book says to love your neighbor, and if you go to Jeremiah, it says to eat your neighbor. So I mean, which one are we going with? But Jesus says some okay things, but he says some really, really bad things too. Like Jesus took an already bad law, in my opinion, and made it way, way worse.
Could you elaborate? Would that be okay?
Yeah, of course. Let me pull one up here. Here's
Yeah, man.
So obviously you seem like you're really reasonable and pretty modern. So obviously
Thank
you don't
brother.
think
I
it's
appreciate
okay. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Same with you as well,
anyway.
brother. Like you seem reasonable as well, brother. Like, I'm actually enjoying this conversation. I've had conversations like this with a few people online, and a lot of them really don't like. They all hate me because I'm a Christian. So,
Oh, well, I mean, most of the Christians I know are fine. I just talked to a bunch of them that's not fine. It's very dangerous ideologies.
yeah, I will agree with you there.
But here's a point. Jesus says this directly. So, like, obviously, you don't think it's okay that a woman be sentenced and executed for adultery because a man divorced her, right?
Oh yeah, no, I do think that is a little strange. I had a friend actually. I did have a friend actually, one of my best friends who was dating a girl who was divorced, and a lot of people in the church, because we went to the same church, and a lot of people in the church were telling him he shouldn't date her because she's an adulterer, and I was a bit like.
That's a teaching of Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I was a bit like, but I mean, she was a pagan witch though, so like, but
Well,
you know,
according to the law of God, you're supposed to set her on fire.
Yeah, I know.
By law.
Man, my fiance is a pagan witch. Like, so yeah, I'm not exactly doing the work. I won't lie, but you know.
Yeah.
But you know.
Hey, can I
But yeah,
jump in?
that's Yeah, yeah. What's that? As long as you're over 18 and you're a Christian, is that the case there?
Yeah, I'm 29. I'm a Christian.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, jump on in here. I was actually going to ask you if you had any input here since he wasn't contending with me much anymore.
I can leave if you want,
Okay,
guys. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. I can leave.
no,
If you want to hang out, you can. Go ahead. I am him.
yeah. I'm from Africa, so I have a different accent. I hope you guys understand me. Um,
Yeah, that's fine. You sound all
I,
right.
I think I think I think there's a contradiction. I don't even think I know there is a contradiction on your prompt because your first claim is that Christianity isn't true. Okay, your
Right.
your third claim is that Jesus fulfills zero prophecies. Then you
Right.
also claim that God condones slavery, but your fourth claim is where the contradiction lies, because you are also claiming that the same Bible where you derive all these claims from
Mhm.
has too many problems to be trusted. So
Right.
which verse do we trust? Which one do we not trust?
Well, we trust the ones that are shown to be contradictory and untrue, or don't trust them, I mean. And then you can trust the ones that are like, verifiable in some shape or form. But this has way too many problems to be trusted overall, yeah. That's why I'm not a Christian anymore. You want to give you some
Is
examples?
it not the case? Okay, yeah. Give me an example of a contradiction.
All right, just for example, so Matthew and Luke are the only two gospels that give a birth narrative for Jesus, right? They're the only ones who mention where he was born or from a virgin or whatever. But anyway, if you read Matthew, it says that Jesus was born during the lifetime of Herod the Great, and Herod the Great died in around somewhere between 4 and 2 BCE, right? So Matthew has Jesus being born in the BC area in the lifetime of Herod the Great. Luke says Jesus was born during the census of Quirinius, and that happened in 6 AD. That was 10 years after Herod died. So Jesus could not have been born in the lifetime of Herod and also during the census of Quirinius in the AD. One has him being born in BC, one has him born in AD. And this is just one of many, many, many problems like that.
Okay, when you read, you just the brother before just asked you if you read the New Testament and you said that you had read it. So when you read like Matthew, Luke, the first four books of the New Testament, John, Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Yeah.
What do you are those not testimonies from four different people?
Well, they're people from a minimum of 4 different authors, yeah. But they're not
for
like
example,
eyewitness testimonies or anything. They're anonymous. They're anonymous gospels, and none of them are eyewitness testimonies.
wasn't John like the brother of Jesus, or am I wrong?
No, he was supposedly a disciple, but if you actually like examine John, like the gospels themselves, none of the gospels are signed by anybody. It never says, "Hey, I'm John and this is my testimony." Like if you read chapter 21 of John, it even says this is accounts that we have taken, suggesting there's multiple authors of John. But John is the latest gospel. John was written sometime in the hundreds, like over 100 years after Jesus died. So I mean, there's no way this came from John the disciple. Can't be possible. But it's not even written in first person. It's written like as a retelling of an earlier story.
Just to jump in there, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Weren't the disciples given like extended life though? Like, wasn't that like am I blaspheming there?
No, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows when most of them died. There's church traditions later that say they were all martyred, but none of that's considered
None of that's
relevant
evidence.
by any scholars and stuff like that.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. That was just a quick
Well,
question.
none
I
of
would
it's in
just
the Bible anyway. It only mentions 2 of them done, but either way, there was only 2 disciples. Only arguably John and Matthew was even a disciple. Mark wasn't a disciple. He was a cousin of Barnabas, and Luke was a traveling companion of Paul. So neither one of them even met Jesus anyway, because they're not disciples. So they wouldn't have been eyewitness testimonies anyway.
No,
Like
that's
I
fair.
said, there's
That's fair.
major problems with all this stuff, in my opinion.
Do you not think, like, just out of curiosity, though, obviously, like I said, do you not think Jesus' teachings are, like, obviously, like, a good thing? But do you...
Do you remember the divorce thing we talked about?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I was actually going to ask you, do you not think Christianity has brought, like, a lot of good to the world? Like, obviously, I know there are flaws, I guess,
good, but it's also brought a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, but, you know, we're humans, aren't we? You know, we're idiots. Like, that's why, obviously, he had to come and die for us.
I'm an idiot, but I'm not so big an idiot that I can't see right through the problems in this text here.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough, brother. That's fair enough.
Like Jesus says, too, on the Sermon on the Mount, he says, do not worry. He tells people, don't worry. He says, God is going to feed you, clothe you, and water you. But, I mean, clearly that's ridiculous because there's literally like 25,000 people a day starved to death. So where Jesus got that from is not no divine knowledge, in my opinion.
Okay. Wasn't that meant to be like spiritually
no,
like spiritual, like
if birds are spiritual, then sure, that's what he meant. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough, brother.
He said he feeds birds. He said you're way more important than birds.
Apostate.
Yeah.
Host. I do think you gave me one example, but the example you gave me it's so inconsequential to Christianity. Do you have a consequential, like something?
Why is it inconsequential?
Something, because the claim for Christianity is that Jesus lived on earth, died, was crucified, and went to heaven. That's the consequence of Christianity. If you can disprove any of those, then you've disproved Christianity. Any other thing doesn't
you can disprove
anything.
Jesus. Well, you can't really disprove it, but you can show that there's too many problems to even think he was a real person with anachronisms.
But there are accounts though of like other religious people like meeting Jesus, like Buddha actually like met Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah, dude. Come on, dude.
No, Buddha lived way, way, way before Jesus.
No, bro, I swear, there's accounts. Fair. You will probably know more than me, so I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
You will know more than me, so I'll give you that. Sorry, I'm just jumping in here and there. Sorry, guys, I'm not.
No worries, man. Go ahead, Him. What do you want to say there, buddy?
You say that okay. Are you making the claim that Jesus didn't exist on earth? Is that your claim?
There's no evidence he existed. No, I'm not really claiming that. I think he might have been a real person,
lack of evidence.
But I can definitely show you that he doesn't fulfill any of these prophecies, and the New Testament is completely lying about him fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah. Okay. Let the prophecies let's just put them aside for a second.
Okay.
Do you claim that Jesus didn't exist on earth?
No, I'm saying there's no evidence Jesus existed.
But do you realize that lack of evidence does not mean that he didn't exist?
Yeah,
it just means that you do not have access to the evidence. That's all that means.
Yeah, but you don't either, though. That's the point of that's not going to do us any good. If there's no evidence for something, there's no evidence. It's not a case for it either.
We do have a problem because so many historians have made the actual claim that it is beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jesus existed on earth. So many historians.
He is right there.
But so many historians have said it. I'm not a historian, so
yeah, but it's not based on actual evidence. It's based on an historical method. It's an assumption, basically. There's no evidence.
Did Alexander the Great? Did Alexander the Great exist on earth? Did Alexander the Great exist on earth? Based on what?
There is like less evidence.
And I have a coin that Alexander minted right here. This was minted under Alexander the Great.
How do you know? By how do you know that? How do you know that?
That's what all the historians say. This is how
but
this coin
the
is
same historians
cataloged in history. This is an Alexander the Great coin. It was minted during his lifetime.
Can I just quickly say something?
I think your logic is flawed, sir.
I have spoken to people that have said that.
There's multiple contemporary accounts for Alexander. There's people from all over the
there
known
there
world at
are
the
way
time
more
mentioned him.
writings
There's
about Jesus.
Yeah, he is actually
Apostate,
right
there
there.
are way
yeah, but
more
there's
writings about Jesus than
well, there's
Alexander.
more
Way more, like
manuscripts, but there's
I
not
can even say
any
a
writings from
thousand
Jesus
more
from his
times.
lifetime, though.
No, but
Nope.
there are
There is
accounts of
almost
people meeting Jesus. There
there
is
is
actually
almost
more accounts of Jesus than there are of like
There's not a
Julius
single
Caesar.
contemporary account for Jesus' lifetime.
No,
Never.
maybe not for his lifetime, but there is documentation that does say
That's what I'm saying.
about other
Alexander's
people
got a
meeting
whole
him
bunch of
more
that,
than
but
like
Jesus don't. Alexander has statues. He has contemporary accounts, multiple
yeah, but
contemporary
in
accounts.
the Bible it does say you aren't supposed to make like graven images of God. So you're not really supposed to make like having no artwork and no statues and
There's
that
pictures of
isn't
Jesus
necessarily
everywhere. What
like
are you talking about? There's
sorry, say
pictures
that
of
again.
Jesus all over the place.
Oh yeah, but you're not really supposed to, you know? Like you're not really supposed to have like an image of
Well,
God
you're
and
not
Jesus.
supposed
Not
to do a lot of
really.
things, but that
Yeah,
don't
no,
stop
100%.
Christians.
But there are less like historical documents
Christians are like,
on
come be
Julius
a
Caesar, for
Christian, and
instance, than
you'll
there are on
act right
Jesus.
if you accept Jesus. But no Christians actually even do what Jesus says. So it's a bit strange.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I was reading chat. My apologies.
That's what I'm saying. Christians tell you if you become a Christian, you'll act right. It'll help you and stuff like that. But no Christian even does what Christianity demands they do. So it's like join us and not do the stuff we don't do. It's really weird.
Well, I don't know. I've met a few Christians that are very devout. I mean, a lot of them they go by obviously a lot of the good teachings that Jesus said. You know what I'm saying?
What about the bad ones?
Yeah,
but you
see,
you
sorry.
can't judge Christianity by the Christians. Even the Bible
Yeah,
says you
yeah,
can't judge Christianity by the Christians.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
That's not
Jesus
true. It
himself
says you'll
say
know them by their
Jesus
fruit. No, it says you'll know them by their fruit.
Yeah, but some
exactly.
Christians
So
are obviously like
just
really good people.
claiming to be Christian doesn't make you a Christian.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be known by your works. You have to be known by your works. You
Yeah,
just
that's what
can't.
I'm
Even
saying.
even
But
me
what about the
myself.
Christians who aren't known
I
by their
came
works?
here.
You just they're not Christians if they don't do works.
Then they are not Christians.
But
Then they are not
also,
Christians.
So you have to
They
be
can claim.
perfect and do
but it
work
does
to be a
say,
Christian, right?
but it does say as well, like the
No,
path
you
to
don't need
hell,
to be
like is
perfect.
paved with the works,
Oh.
like
Just Roman.
you know.
Well, man, if you're all still sinners and stuff, how do you know the difference?
Say that again. Sorry, I don't understand that. Say that
Like,
again,
I
sorry.
know plenty of atheists that do good work. How do you tell the difference between an atheist doing good work and a Christian doing good work?
Well,
Or
it
a
says,
Muslim
doesn't it,
or
like
a
that the path
Buddhist?
to hell is paved with like good intentions, right?
Not
Like,
the Bible, it don't.
yeah, it says like that the path to
That's
hell
like
is
an
like
American
paved
proverb.
with like the works, you
Bro,
know?
that's an American proverb.
Oh, my apologies. Well, my apologies then, brother. But I don't know, man. Like, isn't it? Sorry, go on. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying, I don't think that's from the Bible, bro. That's
No, that's fair,
like
brother.
Shakespeare.
That's
I
fair,
think
brother. No, that's fair, brother.
Apostate, I think you are equivocating. You're equivocating because you're saying that an atheist can do good works and a Christian can also can do bad works. But I'm telling you, to be a Christian, you don't need to only do good works. Good works will show that you are a Christian only if you claim to follow Jesus. You need to first claim that Jesus. You need. Is it John? Anyone who claims 3:16, John 3:16, you need to follow the John 3:16. Then after you follow John 3:16, then you show your works. You show the fruits of the Holy Spirit. You can't just show the fruits and not claim Jesus and say you're a Christian. No, you're just a good atheist.
Just to quickly jump in real quick, there's a guy in chat, JNC1922, saying, when was Jesus a Christian? Well, he wasn't. He was obviously a Jew, you know? But like,
yeah, Jesus said you have to keep the law to get to God.
Well, I thought Jesus said, like, you know, like he is the bridge. Like he is the bridge, like, to the Father, you know?
Well,
so it doesn't matter, like,
the only
what
way to
works
the
you do
Father
if
is
you
through
don't
me,
believe in
but
him.
it just meant through his message, and his message was pretty simple. His message was to keep the law.
Yeah, but he does say, like he is the way, innit? Like, he is the way to the Father.
Well, he's
So
telling you the way. His message is the way.
Yeah,
So,
but obviously you have to
essentially through
believe.
him is the way to the Father. Yeah.
But you obviously have to believe as well, like, obviously you have to believe that, like, well, hang on, where was I going with this? I just read J and CC in chat again. I just lost my train of thought. So
It depends on which gospel you ask. You don't necessarily have to believe anything if you're just reading Matthew. Like, I mean, he just says keep the law. It's based on what you did. You'll be judged based on your works if you read Matthew.
Okay.
But like if you go to like Paul, all you got to do is believe you're saved by grace because he removed the burden of sin and keeping the law on the cross, even though Jesus himself never said
Apostate,
that.
I had a
No,
follow-up question.
fair enough.
I had a
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Your prompt says God is unjust. Okay.
Yeah.
For you as as an atheist or an agnostic, I don't know where you stand. For you, if God was unjust but he existed, assuming he existed, okay, this is an assumption. Assuming God
Yeah.
existed but he was unjust, assuming God was even the devil, okay, the person who created us was the devil, our conception of the devil. What difference will that make?
What do you mean to me?
No, to the world, to us, to the way. For example,
I have no idea. I can only speak for me.
let me give you like an analogy. When I watch American politics, a lot of liberals hate Donald Trump. They think he's the devil. Okay, but
Yeah, I
he's
hate
still
that
the
motherfucker. I don't think
U.S.
he's the devil. I
president.
just think he's a corrupt sack of shit.
Okay, but you don't think he's the devil, but others think he is. They hate him, but he's still the U.S. president. He's still sending
Yeah, he's
money
a
to
Christian,
Israel.
man.
He's still signing the executive orders. So what difference does
Yeah.
it make? How if he's terrible or not? He's still the president. What difference does it
Yeah,
make?
he's
If God was
he's
even
affecting a
evil,
whole lot of people. Yeah.
but what difference does it
Because
make?
it's
We can't
affecting
change
people's
anything.
lives. I mean, if he's a corrupt sack of shit like he is, then he's not doing a good job. He's negatively impacting people more than he's helping.
I'm asking that because we can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it if he is evil.
We can,
I can't
yeah.
do anything
In
about
America,
it.
we can, yeah. In America, we have a right to overthrow
No,
our government
I'm not
if we
asking
don't like
about.
it anymore.
I'm not asking
Not
about
that
Trump.
that's
I'm asking.
reasonable.
You know,
Oh,
no. Trump is like a small god, but a very small god compared to the Christian conception of God. Okay, like if you can put God is like 1,000, Trump is like a 10. Okay, in power terms, you can overthrow Trump, but you cannot overthrow God. And even to
yeah, but I don't
overthrow
have to
Trump is
worship
so
him,
hard.
man.
How many times was he impeached in his first run? Almost,
At
I
least a
think 2 or
couple,
3
yeah.
times. He was
Yeah,
still
at
in
least a
office.
couple, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
still in office. So you are not
America's
able to
crazy,
do
man.
anything
It's-
about Trump.
There's a lot of good
You're
stuff
not able
about
to do
America,
anything
but
about
it's
Trump.
got a lot of problems too. Yeah. We can do something about Trump.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that. I agree
he
with
still
that.
has
But
to adhere to the law. I mean, he can break it, but he's going to be like he can be held accountable for that. Same way God can. If I don't like what
how?
God's doing,
How?
I'm not worshiping an unjust God. You know what I mean?
I follow American politics very closely. There is no American president who has ever been held to account except the one who was impeached. Who was the guy in the 1900s? I forget his name, but no American president has ever been held accountable. Bill Clinton has done
Yeah, it's
so
pretty
many
sorry,
crimes.
ain't it?
He's even in that file. He wasn't held accountable. Obama
I
killed
agree.
so many Arabs in the Middle East.
You got me there.
Nothing has ever happened to him. So
Preach it,
and
brother.
they don't have the same amount. They don't have the same amount of power as God, the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
So if God was
England's
even
over there
evil,
arresting princes over the Epstein files, and we won't even arrest a low-tier politician here. It's pretty fucking sad. I hear you, man. We deserve it. Let us have it.
But are you agreeing with me then that you can't do anything
Yeah,
if God
yeah.
is unjust?
Well, I
So
cannot
what's the
worship
point
it.
of
I can withhold
opposing
my
a God
worship
who is
of this
unjust?
deity. Huh? Wait, what was the last question?
What's the point of opposing a God who is 1,000, 1,000,000 times more powerful than your president, and your president is actually the most powerful person on earth?
Well, it seems pretty
Maybe
imaginary
not,
to me.
but
I don't figure he's powerful at all because he never does anything or even shows himself or nothing like that. But either way, I don't have to worship this God. Like, I do not respect this God. Like, this God is horrible. He does horrible things, and I don't think anybody should worship this God because it's unjust. Like, why would you worship a leadership figure that's horrible? Like, I don't get it. Like,
Okay, let me give you another analogy, sir. let's assume you're in prison, okay? And there's a prison warden over you, okay? And this guy has power over you. You can't do anything to him, okay? Now imagine a God. I'm not saying that God exists. I know that you don't think he exists. I already know that you don't. So don't keep saying that he doesn't. I know you don't think he exists.
I mean, I can grant you he does. I don't really argue he don't exist.
But if he existed, what will you do? And what can you do about it? Even if he says that he condones
I can't do nothing
slavery,
about it, but I cannot worship this God. Like, I have to sleep at night, man. Like, I can't say, hey, all these babies that God bashes to pieces here is cool with me, and be like, yeah, never. That's God, though. I got to worship him anyway. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I have to sleep at night. If I can't justify this God's actions, it don't deserve my reverence.
Yeah, I mean, if we
even
could,
if he'll kill you for it.
Yeah, I am him. So, like, if we could,
it's Dr.
like,
Josh.
let's just grant it, right? Yeah, we can't do anything against it. So let me ask you then. So if it turned out that the God of the Bible was actually what you think of as Satan, right, or the devil, like, are you going to worship that deity?
Yes, without a doubt. Yes.
So it's just for you. It's okay that deity would be utilizing might makes right.
I'll answer you in an analogy form. If I was in prison and there was a warden over me, even if he mistreated me every day, I will still say yes, sir, to him. Yes, sir, every day.
Because I know worship,
he has the ability. No, I'm explaining, because I know that he has the ability to make my life miserable in prison. Now, if you extrapolate that and put it in God's terms, who has like 1,000,000 times the power of the warden over me, he can kill me he can unalive me at any point.
Yes, you didn't have to give the analogy. So, I understood what you were saying, and that's my point. This doesn't sound like a loving relationship. You know, you're not loving the deity because of his moral attributes. You're fearing him. Period.
No,
you're being like
I do understand
harshly.
I think my ideology is because I do understand that in life there are hierarchies. Okay, like for example, in this life, if I start talking negatively to the host, being disrespectful and that, I'll be dropped. I can't do anything about it. But if he had the power to unalive me, if he had the power to just snap his finger and unalive me, I will do anything the host say. It's a power dynamic.
But can God? What? Right, I am him. But God, I am him. Can God? Is God immoral by your lights?
In my world, God is just. God is moral. Everything God is the epitome of everything good. But if he was even bad, if he was the devil, I will still worship him. I will still worship him.
But this is the point, right?
Because of the power dynamic.
So this is the point. I get you, right? And I think that's probably a normal human response, what you're saying here, but that's not really what, and Abe, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think that's really his point. I think the point is, in pointing out things like the deity in the book being unjust, is that on an internal critique, that's pretty damning to the theological position of most Christians, right? Because they would say that God is not, just like you do, that God is not unjust, that he is perfectly moral. That's why he's pointing it out. It's to show the contradiction.
Yeah, Joshua, I do understand the host's position. I was giving an internal critique of his position.
How is it an internal critique if he doesn't believe in the deity?
I was granting that I wasn't putting my own opinions to his prompt. Okay, I was just saying, assuming your worldview as apostate is correct, assuming your worldview as an atheist is correct. Okay, even in your worldview where God is terrible, I will still worship him. That was my point.
That's not his worldview. Like, his worldview is that God doesn't exist. If you're doing an internal critique, you have to say, God doesn't exist.
If God doesn't exist, then why would you say that God is unjust?
Oh, well, that's
Why
the
does the
right
prompt say
question.
that
And
God
that's
is
why
unjust?
that's what I just said to you. The reason that he's bringing it up is he's doing an internal critique on your position. If you're going to do an
And
internal
I'm doing
critique on
an
his, no,
internal
sir,
critique
listen,
on
listen,
his
you're not.
prompt.
You're absolutely not. If you're doing an internal critique on his prompt, then you have to assume the facts in question that he is assuming, right? That the God of the Bible, according to the lights of Christians, is a moral, ethical character.
Okay, where am I going wrong? Can you bring me back to track? Where am I wrong? Because
Sure,
you've
you have
confused
to.
me a bit.
Okay, yeah, I get it. If you're going to do, I'm probably not being very clear, honestly. If you're going to internally critique his argument here, like if you're going to take his argument seriously, the things that he's assuming, and again, Abe, correct me if I'm wrong about this,
No.
going into this is that the God as described in the biblical texts is assumed by most Christians to be perfectly moral and just, right? Like you said. And what he's doing is he's saying, okay, given that is your position, and you think the biblical texts are the word of God, which again, most Christians do, at least that we interact with, then the contradiction will be that the biblical texts that are God's word describe the deity as being unjust, right? In the acts that he does.
Okay.
Did that make any more sense?
If you can just forget for a second that I even mentioned the internal critique thing.
Sure.
Assume I'm not even making an internal critique on his opinion, okay?
Okay.
My opinion is, even if God was unjust, I will still worship him because of the power dynamic. However, I don't think he's unjust. I think he's just, and I worship him still because of the power dynamic. Okay? Now you tell me how I am wrong for doing that.
Oh, no, I don't think that's his. I mean, I think that's gross, but I don't think that's the point of his prompt.
It's horrible, yeah.
But no, I'm not asking that. I'm asking you a different question.
It's not wrong necessarily. There's not a right or wrong answer there. But why would you worship an evil God? An evil, unjust God does not deserve reverence or worship.
It sounds
It
like
deserves the
all.
opposite of that.
It sounds like, and please, I am him. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It sounds like maybe what you're saying more is, given that scenario, I'm trying to survive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But I think that's. I suspect. I suspect in reality, everybody would do that, right? Right?
Yeah, and that's why I usually find it interesting when an atheist comes and tells me that your God is evil, therefore don't worship him. But that's not an argument, because even if he was evil, I will still worship him.
I'm saying we stopped, or it's a big part of the reason we stopped worshiping, because I'm not worshiping a God that I can't justify their actions. Like it'd be like me worshiping Adolf Schmittler just because it's a war and he might crush me. You know what I mean? Like it's not happening.
Like, for example, Joshua, if you told me, for example, to do some errands for you, and you are my friend, and I really liked you, I even loved you, I will do it gladly, okay?
Sure.
Without even asking for anything. But still, even if I hated you and you had a gun pointed at me, I will still do it because of the power dynamic.
Well, it's duress.
So
you're doing it under
why,
duress.
That's why.
Yeah.
Which one will make you feel good?
I think there's a difference, I think that we've maybe just been talking past each other.
Christianity has never been about feeling good. Yeah, Christianity has never been a feel-good religion.
There's a difference between surviving and living. Like nobody should live in an oppressed mind frames. Like you shouldn't have to feel like you're getting crushed by your God. Like you should feel like love and friendship. But reverence.
I don't feel like that. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like that. I don't feel that way.
So
I don't feel like I'm oppressed. Yeah.
Oh, I hear it. Love for Charlie, you can chime in here if you want, but are you over 18 and a Christian first?
Yes, I am a Christian.
Are you over 18? Uh-oh. I think he wasn't. All right. Never mind. Sounded like a child there. Okay, so well, what makes God just? Him.
What makes God just? Because he punishes the wicked and he rewards those who do good. I think that's justice. And I've heard several arguments about people claiming, for example, there's the Amalek story, where the Israelites were told to go and unalive the Amaleks. There are several stories in the Bible where the people of God were instructed to go and do horrendous things to non-believers or people who were disobeyed against God. But to me, that is justice. To you, that is immoral.
Well, he did it to the Israelites too, though.
Well,
yeah, he did it to the Israelites after they offended God. Exactly. So it's still justice.
Can we do the Amalekite story? Because I'd be interested in not so much whether you think there was a wrong that needed to be righted or punished, but if it's commensurate with it. So, like this is one of the things, and I remember this about, being an evangelical Christian. Like this was something that was very, very common, is that you sort of get desensitized to the punishments that come down, right? So here, 1 Samuel 15, like, so that we're very clear about what they were to do, they were to go and unalive everyone, men, women, children, infants, cattle, sheep, donkeys, right? And the reason that they were told to do it in the text itself is that several centuries earlier, the Amalekites had done something pretty bad to the Israelites.
I think they did it to God. They did it to God.
Okay, but I mean, they did it. The text says that they did it to Israel. And so God in Exodus 17. Yeah, it's 1 Samuel 15, 1-3. But the story is coming from Exodus 17. It's retold in Deuteronomy 25. But yeah, I mean, God says that he's going to wage cosmic war against Amalek, right? Like that's where this is all coming from. But it's because of what they did, lying in wait and ambushing Israel. But let's grant all of that, right? They ambushed, because that's what the narrative says. They ambushed them from behind. So, like, centuries earlier, people, hundreds of years before, did this thing that was bad to Israel. Hundreds of years later, the command is to go wipe them all out completely, including infants and sucklings.
Mm-hmm. What's the contention?
Do you think that's just?
I do.
Okay, so
I actually think in most of these cases that God was very kind to these people. He would have done worse than he did, but he didn't. You just look at the example of Hamas and
What's
Israel.
What's worse than being utterly destroyed?
Has done.
Well, let me make it, sorry. Can I give you an analogy? Because I think this is one, if I have 5 kids, right? So it's very, very difficult when my wife and I, when we all sit at the dining room table and eat, it's very difficult to talk about your day. Because I have 4-year-old twins and an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old, right? They're all talking. And, if we, for some reason, established a rule in our house that if somebody interrupted someone while they were speaking, the person that got interrupted was allowed to get up, walk over, and punch them in the nose as hard as they could. Right? That scenario. So then, I interrupt my 18-year-old. She gets up, she walks over, punches me as hard as she can, square in the nose. Right? Now, I in that context, in my family, would say, yep, got what I deserved, right? That was justice. But the reality is that from a societal standpoint, we would all look at that and
Pardon?
sorry, I got a call. But everybody, I think, would say, whoa, that's like, that's extreme. That's out of balance. That's not, that's not just. That's a punishment that doesn't fit the act, right? I mean, would you agree with that? That punched in the nose for interrupting somebody is probably out of balance.
Yeah, I do agree.
Okay,
It's a bit
so I think
overboard.
Yeah. So I think that's what's going on here from this perspective, is that nobody's disagreeing that the Amalekites centuries earlier did something wrong, right, in the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that, like, Achan in Joshua 7 did something wrong, according to the narrative, by taking stuff from Jericho, right? But the punishment was that he's stoned along with his entire family. His family didn't do anything wrong. What did his family do? But they all get stoned.
Okay. This is my response. We have so many countries on earth. Every country, or most countries, have their own constitution, different from each other. Okay. If, for example, I started my own country X, and we had a law written in the constitution, okay, or even maybe it's not a law, maybe I'm a king, and I bring down a law to my people, to my subjects, and I tell them, this is how we live our life. You do not wear shoes, you only wear clothes, no shoes. Anyone seen with shoes, the punishment is death. Okay, that's an absurd. It's an absurd law. It's something cruel to inflict upon your people. However, that is the law, and everyone knows that's the law. Okay. Now, you who knows the law, you go and do something contrary to the law, knowing that the punishment is death. Okay. In the Bible, it's written clearly, the wages of sin is death. It doesn't matter how small it is, whether you are stealing, whether you are lying, whether you slap someone, whether you unalive someone, the wages of sin is death. Everyone who has read it knows. Those who have not read it will be judged differently. Okay? You who have read it, you read it and you go and do the thing that God has said don't do it. And you expect mercy when it's written in law.
Yeah, so stay with the king one for a second, right? Because I think this is actually where I think this is where it's going to be telling. So let's say you go out and wear shoes, right? Let's say you forget, you put some shoes on, right? Or let's say you do it intentionally. I don't care. And the king unalives you. Is that moral?
Yes.
No.
So
what if the penalty was?
Joshua, you're at a conundrum, because you want the same God who is merciful. You want him to be just. You want him to
that's not my conundrum. That's not my conundrum. That's not my conundrum.
Be merciful.
Don't read into Don't read into what my thoughts are. What if the king
I'm not
said?
reading your thoughts.
I know you're not. Don't try. So what if the king said, let's make it not unalivement. Let's make it, he's going to grape you. So you wear shoes outside and he says, okay, that's it. And he comes and he grapes you.
Okay.
Is that moral?
What do you mean by moral?
Well, you knew what it meant when it was about unalivement.
I think I answered rashly. I didn't really understand what you were trying to say by moral.
That's fair. That's fair.
What do you mean by moral?
I don't mean
because,
that in some...
as an atheist, you can't tell me anything about morality.
Yeah, I'm not meaning, I'm by your lights. By your lights. It's okay. We're just going by your lights. You don't have to worry about what my position on ethics is. Just by your lights, is it moral?
According to the biblical ethics, it's not moral.
Okay, all right. So I think the problem here is twofold. One, you have instances in the biblical text where it seems like very clearly God is supposed to be held to a particular moral standard. And in other parts of the biblical text,
No.
you're not familiar with Genesis 18?
God is not held to any standard. God
Yeah,
is the
yes, he
standard.
is.
Do you,
Okay?
do
God
you
is
know,
not.
sir, do you know Genesis
Oh my
18 with
God.
Abraham? Yeah. Do you know the story of Genesis 18 with Abraham having the conversation with God before he goes down to Sodom and Gomorrah?
You tell me.
Okay. Sorry. It's not like it's fine that if you don't remember it, that's absolutely fine. So this is where, Yahweh comes down and he tells Abraham and Sarah that they're going to have a kid, and Sarah laughs, to herself. And afterwards, they start to head down toward Sodom, and Abraham's walking with them, and God says, should I keep what I'm going to do to Sodom away from Abraham? And so he says, hey, I'm getting ready to go down here. There's a cry coming out to me from Sodom that they're doing some really bad stuff. I'm going to go down there and see if that's true. And if it is, fuck around and find out. I'm getting ready to unalive them all. And Abraham says to him, far be it from you to wipe out, right, to sweep away the righteous with the wicked. Certainly far be it from you to do this thing. Will not the judge of all the earth do what is right?
Do you realize that Abraham was just a human being like me and you?
Right.
Yeah,
so
he was
God
was
obviously
actually-
said back
and
to
he
him.
actually
Yeah, so
and,
God
and
must
he
have
actually
said back
worshipped
to him.
idols
Yeah.
before he started
Right.
following
But
God.
God must have said back to him, who are you? Were you there when I laid the foundations of the earth? Were you there when I stretched out the
Yes,
sky?
who are you?
How dare you?
And
How
that's my
dare you?
response.
Yeah, but he didn't, did he?
No, I'm telling you, that's my response when you
I know
when you
that's your
start asking me,
response.
is God moral or immoral?
I know.
I know
What
that
I'm
you
saying
want
to
me
you,
to have the same
no,
response as Abraham,
I don't
but
want you.
I don't.
That's fine.
Abraham
And you
is
can
not my
disagree
gold
with
standard.
Abraham. You can disagree with Abraham.
Yeah.
That's okay. The problem is God didn't.
So what does that prove or disprove?
I mean, it sure seems like God took what Abraham said on board.
It means you can, as a
So
human, hold
you're-
God
you're-
to a
you're saying
standard of
that-
justice.
How?
D-
You cannot
By what
even
he just
hold your
told you.
president to
Abraham
Are you
the same
familiar-
standards
God to a
of
standard of
justice, but you
justice.
want to hold
Hang
God?
on. Are you familiar with
Oh
Psalm
my God,
82?
this is ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous. Are you familiar with Psalm 82? This is the psalm. It's not a very long psalm, but go ahead, sorry.
You're giving me pop quizzes.
And
Just
that's, I'm
make a
not.
point.
Sorry.
Are you,
sorry.
are you
sorry,
familiar?
sorry.
Are you familiar with where I am from?
No, I'm definitely not
that's
trying
what
to do
you're
that. I'm
doing.
sorry. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm trying to do. I do that because I don't want to start telling you about something that you already know about. So I'm sorry. That's, if it came across that way, that's not what I meant. So Psalm 82 is the psalm about God standing in the council of the gods, right? And he judges the rest of the gods. And he says, all of you have been given these other nations, right? All as an inheritance, but you didn't do justly. You didn't protect the poor. You didn't protect the weak and the vulnerable. You didn't, stand up for righteousness. And so Yahweh is going to get all of your inheritances from you because you didn't do that. And he did. Like the Hebrew Bible is full of very common ancient Near Eastern concepts for kingship that say that kings and gods are supposed to be good shepherds. They're supposed to do what is right. Like this
Where in
idea
the
that
Bible
whatever
does it
God
say
does,
that God is supposed to do things? Where in the Bible does it say that God is
I
supposed to
just
do
told
this?
you two.
God is
I
not
just
doing
told
what
you
he's
two
supposed to
It's
do.
like you're
passages.
not even
I
listening
just
anymore.
told you two passages.
I thought the passages you cited were where God was asking people, why didn't they do just? It wasn't
That's
people
the
asking
second
God,
one.
why didn't God? Okay, what's the first one that I missed? I think I missed the
You
first
didn't
one.
miss it. Genesis 18, where Abraham says, "Will not the judge of all the earth do what is right?"
Okay, so, and I already answered to that, and I said I disagree with Abraham. You do not judge God. You do not ask God questions. You do not
Right,
try
but
and be them.
but
Do you remember
I
That's
when
not
think it's
Dr. Josh
Christianity.
said that's fine, but God didn't disagree with Abraham? You're disagreeing with God
The
now?
last person I had questioned God is in hell. So I I think in the Bible the only person who successfully tried to question God was the serpent, was the devil, and he was thrown from heaven. I don't think anyone else really tried to tell God, this is what you're supposed to do. You're not
There was
doing
plenty of
just.
people
You
that
should have
tested
done
God.
this and not that.
I mean,
But
so
none of
yeah,
those people are an example of Christianity,
I
of
mean,
who a Christian should be.
I mean, certainly Job is, but okay. Yeah, look, I think what
Job,
you're,
Job never questioned God.
I mean, the
He
whole
never.
book he did, the whole book he did. It's what the book is about.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
The
Have you
whole
read
book
it?
is about. The whole book is about. I've read it. I actually read it like 2 months ago.
Then
The
this
whole
is a
book
little
of Job is
frightening
about.
that you missed the main point.
What's the main point in Job?
The main point is that bad shit happens to good people.
But am I arguing that
Yeah,
bad shit
like you're a
doesn't
great
happen to
example
good
of that.
people?
Actually,
That's not
God
my
treats you like
argument.
shit and you still worship him. Yeah, that's your argument. What I just said.
But that's not my argument. My argument is that there
Yes, it
is no
is.
one in the Bible who questions God and
Yes,
Job
says
there
that
is.
questions
God
him
is
the
doing something
entire
that is
book.
wrong.
He calls God to a legal account. He says, "Give me my day
Oh
in
my God.
court." I would encourage you to
Okay.
go back and read it.
Okay. You are right, I'm wrong. I think your reading of the Bible is more clearer than all Christians in the world.
Absolutely.
Were you trying to be subtle there?
I was trying to be sarcastic.
Yeah, I think you were
Oh
being
shit.
sardonic, but
Ironic as well.
that's okay. I mean, look, I don't want you to get upset that you didn't
Uh,
catch the main point of Job. Job is tough. Like it's a tough book.
Yeah.
I actually caught the whole book of Job, and most Christians have the same reading as mine, not as yours.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
definitely
you're
don't.
just
So
you're
I
just
would encourage you to go pick
you.
up a
Oh
commentary.
my God.
Yeah, go pick up a commentary. Klein's has a really good 3-volume in the Word Biblical Commentary
Do
series.
you go to church, Joshua? Do you go to church?
I was a pastor for 7 years.
No, I'm asking, do you go to church?
No, I'm an atheist.
Being a pastor doesn't mean anything. You know, I'm from Africa, and pastors in Africa use witchcraft to get their powers. So you telling me you are a pastor doesn't mean anything.
You asked me if I go to church. Do you remember that question?
Yeah, and you didn't answer. You told me you are
I
a
did.
pastor.
I did actually. I did.
Yeah,
That's like
pastors
saying,
don't
have you
say
ever been?
Anyway, but
That's like saying, have you ever been to a grocery store? And I say to you, I used to own a grocery store.
okay, that wasn't even my point. Yeah.
I know. You know, the laughing, it's like really indicative of people getting cooked.
It's actually not. It's just me. You know,
Getting
when you
cooked.
talk to an atheist, for example, let me give you an example. When I talk to atheists, not even an example, just a statement. When I talk to atheists, they usually talk to me as if their reading of the Bible is the correct reading, and my reading of the Bible is totally wrong. And yet, my reading of the Bible is congruent to almost 2 billion, 1 point something billion Christians on earth.
Then this
That's
should be
my reading
very
of the
easy
Bible.
for you, I
But
am
you,
him, to go. No, sir. This should be very easy for you then. Go pick up a reputable commentary off of your shelf and look at the introduction to the book of Job and see what it tells you that the point of the book of Job is.
what's
It
a
should be very
commentary?
easy for
A
you.
commentary you could have written that commentary of Job. You could have
But I
written it
wouldn't have.
with your.
I wouldn't have.
You
I'm
could
telling
have.
you.
You could
I'm
have.
telling you to go get a reputable commentary, unless you just don't think academics or scholars in the field.
I don't think an academic can tell me how I should supposed to read Job.
Oh, well, then make
how I
sure that
should
you
not
never
supposed
read
to
an English
Job.
translation or a translate. Don't read a translation of the text. Read the Hebrew and the Greek and the Aramaic, because you can't trust those scholars who translate it for you.
A translation is not an explanation.
I
You're
know,
asking me to go and
but
read
you
for an
can't trust them,
explanation.
right? They can't. You can't trust them. Can't trust them. So make sure you know that
I'm
Hebrew.
I'm sure you think you're making a great point.
I
am
am,
sure in your
as
head
it
you think
turns
you're
out.
making a great
Yeah, yeah. And you do that cooked laugh again. I appreciate it.
It's the best.
Sounds good.
It's the best rebuttal you got at the moment.
So I'll wait for you to go get your commentary that supports your position, guy.
To you telling me to go and read someone else's commentary is just like listening to you telling me right now that I am wrong in my reading.
Do you remember
Job.
when you
It's
said
just the same thing.
2.1 billion people agree with you? Would that include the Christians that write the commentaries?
I didn't say 2.1. I said 2 billion, 1 point something.
Okay.
I didn't
So
say 2.1.
does that include the Christians that write the commentaries? Oops.
You dunk. You dunk.
Yes,
Keep
I did.
dunking.
Yeah, so I'll wait for you to go get the commentary.
Keep dunking. But you are still not convincing anyone, because
I'm pretty sure
arguments
that
you're
people
making,
in the chat, I think people in the chat are fairly convinced of what's going on here.
I can assure you, Joshua, the only people you're convincing are people who already believe in what you believe in. Those are the only people who are saying, I am getting cooked. Yeah, if there was another Christian here, you would not have convinced
You're
him.
cooking yourself, though. You're saying, I'll worship God whether he's good or evil or just or unjust. It makes no difference to you. That's just a really sad state.
But that's not an argument. Just saying that it's sad is not an argument. No, I'm saying you saying that what I said was sad is not an argument to rebut what I said. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying it's sad.
I can also say that. I can also rebut and say that you not following someone who has a gun over your head is sad because you will die. Okay, but that's not an argument. Just saying it's sad. No, it's not brave.
Against the oppressor is always bravery. It's not sad.
Okay, you can be brave all you want. I don't want to leave this. In my experience, brave people die fast.
You can be a sad little submissive
In my experience,
mouse, all you want.
In my experience, brave people die the fast. They are the ones, cowards live longer. I think there's a saying like that.
Oh, you probably live longer.
I even think
you just don't sleep as well because you can't. You got stuff on your mind and guilt and stuff.
But I don't. Actually, the people who have the least amount of depression are the most religious.
If you don't wear shoes? Is that the kind of world you want to live in?
The least depressed people on earth are the most religious. So you telling me that I sleep sad in my bed is just fallacious, not backed by any statistics.
Maybe you're fine with it. I don't know your mind. You might be perfectly fine with
not just me.
Well, hey, if
even
you're fine
other
living
believers.
in a world where you'll get unalive for not wearing shoes, that's cool with me. But I don't want to live in that world. So.
But we do live in that world. Anyway, thank you guys.
We don't. You might. I don't.
It's fine. We are not convincing anyone. I'm not convincing you. You're not convincing me. But thanks for the discussion.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Danny, are you there? You can. You'll have to unmute yourself, Danny. Oh, let's take it though.
Yeah, I may have to head up. Thank you for letting me.
No problem. As always, thank you for coming up. And
I appreciate it.
Sharing in the headaches as always is much appreciated.
You know how we do. All right, man. I'll let you drop me down. I'll see you.
Got you. Thank you, Dr. D. That was the Scholar Bro, our best friend on the channel, Dr. Josh, coming up with his paleontological theology PhD. It's pretty amazing. We love it. All right, so the queue is wide open at the moment. If you are a Christian or an Hebrew Israelite, or maybe even a Muslim who thinks Jesus is a prophet based on something or another, come on up. The floor is wide open. Great day so far. That was a long conversation. Him and the other guy was on for a long time. Yeah, I appreciate you coming up, buddy. I'm glad I'm not in your head living, but yeah, appreciate you coming up though. It's a interesting viewpoint there. Most people at least got the integrity to say, like, if God wasn't just, I wouldn't worship him. But he was like, shoot, I'll do it either way. I got a gun to my head. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, shit. Yikes, man. Yikes. What a horrible way to live. All right, let's try. Maybe we got one here. Let's see. I think maybe. I don't know. Arthur, are you there?
I am. Yes.
Oh, what's up, man? You're over
All right.
18?
Yes, I am. That's a chat.
Awesome. Are you one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
Say that again.
Are you one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
Yes.
Which one?
I'm a Christian.
Okay, cool. So which one of these topics you want to talk at us about today, dog?
I guess I'll do number 3.
Number 3, God condones slavery. That's a good one.
Yes.
So do you disagree with that, or?
No.
Oh. So you do agree with that?
Yes.
Oh. Well, we don't have much to debate then.
I guess then, what's the just not justification? What's the what's what I'm looking for? Motivation behind number 3. I guess would be where I'd open the door.
In regards to what? I mean, I'm saying the Bible does condone slavery. Most people come up here and argue that it don't condone slavery, so I have to read it to them.
Oh no, the Bible clearly condones slavery. I guess then the question would be, for most people, the question then becomes: is that a mark against Christianity, or just an acceptance of reality?
Are you just okay with slavery, or
am I okay with slavery? Clearly not.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are a lot of things I'm not okay with.
And if it's not a mark against Christianity, it seems like you are okay with it.
I mean, there are a lot of things I'm not okay with. That doesn't mean that doesn't have any justification of whether or not it's moral.
Well, it's clearly immoral.
According to what standard?
According to my standard.
Are you the moral arbiter for all people?
Well, no, just me. I just think slavery is a horrible thing, and it's not justified or moral.
Do you believe that humans have dignity?
Yeah.
Based on
I have some?
Well, I agree. I mean, I believe all humans have dignity, but I think I have a metaphysical worldview by which that can be measured. I don't believe you do. So to say that slavery's immoral.
Slavery's bad, but you're a Christian, but I don't understand. Like, how do you get over such things and consider it a mark in the favor of Christianity?
Well, because if I start with the starting point of what is morality, do I have a metaphysical worldview that can clearly create categories by which moral obligation exists? And I'm saying as a Christian, I believe that exists. As an unbeliever, I don't see how you could. Because when you make moral declaration
things, not metaphysical magic and stuff.
Well, let me explain. Do you believe I have a moral obligation to love my neighbor as myself, or to treat him with dignity? No. You don't believe I have a moral? Okay. So if I don't have a moral obligation to treat my neighbor as I want to be treated, then how can you logically argue against slavery?
I think it's immoral.
So you believe I have a moral
practice? Because, well, I don't want to be a slave, so I will be in agreement with everybody. We shouldn't enslave each other because I don't want to be one.
But do you believe
I'm okay with that? I run the risk of being one myself.
I agree. But I'm saying, do you believe I'm morally obligated not to treat my neighbor as I want to be treated? Is that a moral obligation?
I mean, it's it's not necessarily an obligation. I don't think.
Okay, so then we
Kind of
have
an
to
ought.
go. So
Like
then
if
I
you
would.
expect it, you should probably give it. You know what I mean? Because or
I,
else you're
I
just going to be
agree.
excluded from society.
I agree. So what I'm saying is, when I bring up metaphysics, is that merely saying that something is wrong doesn't in any shape, form, or format bring obligation. The reason I can have moral obligations in a Christian worldview is because I believe that I have to give an account for when I don't morally act. In an unbelieving worldview, if I'm a slaver and I die peacefully, there's no justice. I just die. There's no one to give an account to. I just cease to exist. So who cares if I enslave hundreds of people? There's no one to be held accountable to.
Well, the law in the country I live in will hold you accountable if you try
Well,
to have a
sure,
slave.
that's the United States, but that wasn't always the case for the United States.
Yeah, that's way more useful than God in the Bible, isn't it?
I would disagree. Because if you go back and you look at the history of slavery, especially in the United States, the leading voices for abolition was Christianity, not unbelievers.
Yeah, and the leading voices for slavery was Christians.
Yes, this is also true. But I'm saying you will not find
Kind of a strange thing, isn't it?
you'll be pressed to find a single atheist philosopher in the 18th, 19th, or 20th century that ever wrote a treatise against slavery. So I would say if your argument is that slavery is this immoral thing that's a mark against Christianity, don't you find it a bit odd that you have no major unbelieving philosopher who's condemning slavery?
I'm not concerned with philosophers.
Or just anybody, or any unbelieving
There's
organization.
plenty of people that condemn slavery. Slavery was abolished in England. Slavery was abolished. They just changed it to serfdom, but that was all the way back in like the 1100s.
It was, and slavery was abolished in the United Kingdom, led by Christians. So if you want to say it's both ways,
It was
I agree.
allowed, led by Christians. Like literally, the Confederacy, president of the Confederacy, was quoting Leviticus 25. The fact of the matter is, though, the Bible doesn't condemn slavery anywhere. It promotes it.
I agree with you, but I'm saying I have a metaphysical worldview to say that enslaving people, in the sense that the Americans practice slavery, is immoral. Period. End of discussion.
Well, then your God is immoral because that's exactly what God is allowing here.
In the Old Testament, sure.
Well, the laws, he says to keep all the days you live on the earth, and the law that Jesus said would not pass away, not one stroke or a letter until heaven and earth pass away. So
did Jesus ever explicitly condone slavery?
Jesus said to follow the law.
Okay, I'm asking you, when question on the question of morality of slavery, did Jesus ever condone it? Yes or no?
Jesus never got questioned on the morality of slavery.
I'm saying he was talked about a lot. So Jesus was fine with slavery. And what are you basing that
parables on? Involving slaves. That's his words.
So, okay, I'm asking you, where did Jesus ever say slavery is okay? That's what I'm asking.
Where did he ever say it's not?
Okay, well, that's an argument from silence. That's like saying Jesus never condemned X, Y, and Z, so therefore is it morally okay? We would say no.
Well, it's not an argument from silence because the Bible says, God himself says in many places slavery is just fine.
In the Old Testament, you would be correct.
There's not a silence here.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Now that argument would hold weight.
The New Testament, coincidentally, that's the same God most Christians think Jesus literally is himself.
Well, no, you're missing my point. That would make sense if I was a Jew. I don't hold to the Torah. Now, do I believe it's inspired? Sure. But I don't hold to the Old Covenant. So the argument, what about Leviticus? It's like, okay, Jesus. That's scripture, but I'm not morally, I won't say morally. Say what?
That's fine. That's fine. You're disobeying Jesus, though.
I'm fine with obeying Jesus. That's the basis of the Christian worldview.
No, you're disobeying Jesus. You're not obeying Jesus, is what I said.
Where did Jesus ever say that you should have slaves, though? Now, if he said slavery is okay...
Jesus says you have to keep the law until heaven and earth pass away. And if the law says you can have slaves, then he's fine with it. In fact, God commands taking slaves in matters of war and stuff like that. So God
in the New Testament,
commanding people to take slaves in the law. There's only one law. There's no law of the New Testament.
See, that's where you're wrong, because Jesus explicitly talks about a new covenant. So again, but I want to get back to my original point.
New covenant is?
I do. And the Old Testament says there will be an establishment of a new covenant. But again,
And where
you've
does it
already
say there's going to
admitted.
be a new set of laws given?
Yes, but you missed my point. You still haven't really answered. If I have no moral obligation to love my neighbor, then there's no worldview by which slavery is wrong. Which is what I originally was bringing
It's
up to
wrong in
you.
my worldview. Owning
Well,
people as property is
okay.
wrong.
Okay, but you're basing that on something. You're basing that on 21st presentism, not
I'm
because.
basing it on reality of history and the atrocities and pain that it caused. That's not just like my opinion, man.
I don't disagree that slavery has brought evil. The question is, do you have a grounding
Okay,
for?
well then your Bible is and God are bringing this evil because it allowed it. It says you can sell your daughter as a slave. It says you can take children as sex slaves. So no respect is being given for me to this book here in this God.
That's
This
fine.
God.
I mean, your argument just kind of collapses upon itself. If you don't have an objective moral
Really?
compass, yes, because you're saying two contradictory things.
You
I have
don't
no
have an
moral
objective
obligation.
moral compass. You're saying this is immoral, and when God allows it, you're somehow okay with it.
Well, because that's the old covenant. You're trying to. I don't know why you guys bring up the Old Testament like somehow it's
This
gonna
is or
change
oh, so
anything.
it used to be objectively immoral, but now it's not. Like
If
how,
the
when did the
old
objective moral change?
in the old covenant was slavery allowed, condoned, and regulated? The
This
answer
ain't the
is
old
yes.
covenant.
Say what?
This is in the same law as in the new covenant as the old. So I don't know what you're talking about.
So where does it say take slaves
The
in the
law
new
never
covenant?
goes away.
Where does it say take slaves in the new covenant? Give me a verse, please.
It doesn't. It's the same law. The law never changes. So I don't know what
Yes,
you're
it,
talking about.
it clearly
The law doesn't
does.
go away, and it doesn't. Okay, show me where the law changes in the new covenant.
Okay, do you have Google in front of you, or Bible in front of
I've
you?
got every version of the Bible right here. I got Google, whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, what does Hebrews 8:12-13 say?
That's Paul.
Oh,
He doesn't know what's
okay,
going on in the new covenant.
all right. So that's the game. That's
I thought you were
the
going to
games
read
you want
like
to
the
play.
actual new covenant. Yeah. No, I thought you were going to read the actual new covenant.
Well, it's quoting the new, just talking about the new covenant, making the old
It's
covenant
in the Old
obsolete.
Testament. It's in the Old Testament.
What's in the Old Testament?
The new covenant is in the Old Testament. Have you read this book?
I have, and it talks about in Jeremiah 31, Ezekiel 36, Joel 2, there will be a new covenant.
Yeah, so where does it say a new law is going to replace this old law?
When it says there's going to be a new covenant. And that's where I was
A
pointing
new
to.
covenant, not a new law. There's no new law.
Yes, there is new laws. We see this with
Then show me.
I literally tried to show you, and then you're like, but that's Paul. It's not good enough. It's like, well,
Paul says the law is abolished. That's not a new law. If the law is abolished, you don't have an obligation to do literally anything in here.
Yes, you did. Oh my gosh. That's such a silly argument. You're saying because the old ways are done away with and something new is established that there are no new laws. That's just silly.
I'm saying Paul didn't know what he was talking about in regards to Paul. That's not what's in the new covenant. That's not what God says, and it's not what Jesus says. It's what Paul says. And Paul didn't know what he was talking about, clearly. But if you knew what the actual new covenant was, it would really help, because this isn't a new set of laws.
Yes. Anyway, I don't know that we're ever going to agree on this. Clearly.
Obviously not, because it doesn't seem like you've read it. Clearly,
I've read it, and your argument just doesn't hold any weight. But I will
tell me where it says a new law is going to replace the old law. Show us that. I'll look anywhere you want. Go ahead. Oh, there he goes. They always run when they know they came back up there. Nonsense. All right, well, let's try the next one. And I don't know who the next one was. Maybe it was I'm Lost Again. Maybe not. Yeah, there's no new laws. Sorry, Christians. The law either stands or it's abolished, or it's not or it don't. Uh-oh. We got extreme lag here. I'm Lost Again. Are you there?
Yeah, hiya.
Hey there. Are you over 18?
I'm 19.
Cool. Are you one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
No, I actually just had a question for you, if that's okay.
That's all right. Just make it. We usually just debate Christians up here, but yeah, go ahead real quick.
My question's more about atheists. So I'm atheist anyway. I'm a Satanist and an atheist. But my question is obviously Christians tend to find a lot of peace in knowing that something good is going to happen to them when they die, and I was wondering why you think atheists are so comfortable just not having any kind of safety net for them when they pass, or in day-to-day life. Why do you think we've just been okay with that?
I don't know if it's necessarily been okay with it, but I mean, and atheists are the ones who actually confronted what it actually means to die, where Christians completely dodged it. So I would just say we're okay with it because we actually faced what it actually is and made our peace with being gone when we die.
So you don't you don't think that we have any need to kind of look for that safety net because we've already kind of figured it out?
Kinda. I mean, well, I was a Christian for a long time, so I had to like deal with kind of rationalize the whole thing, I guess. And after I rationalize it, once you understand something, you tend to make your peace with it, I think.
Okay, that was it. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problemo. Let's try. Say,
Hello?
Emerson, are you there?
Yeah,
Yeah, what's up, man? Are you over 18?
I am.
And you're a Christian or Hebrew Israelite?
I'm a Christian.
Cool. So, which one of these topics you want to talk with us about today?
I want to talk about that Jesus does not fulfill prophecy, but I also want to say, like, even in the New Testament, it also mentions that the law changed. Because if you
Where
read
does it say that?
in Hebrews chapter 7, verse 12, it says, there being a change of the priesthood, there's also necessarily a change in the law.
Well, the law goes away according to Paul. He says it's straight up abolished.
Okay, where does it say that?
Ephesians
I mean,
chapter 2.
Hebrews, if you take the traditional view, Hebrews was likely written by Paul.
Huh? Right. Yeah, in verse 15 of Ephesians chapter 2, it says, abolishing the law with its commandments and ordinances, that he might create in himself one new humanity in place of the two, thus making peace, and might reconcile both to God in one body through the cross, thus putting to death that hostility through it. He's straight up saying the law is abolished.
That doesn't mean we don't keep the law.
Why would you? It's abolished. Why would you keep a abolished law? There's no penalty for not
Why
keeping it.
does
So what's the
yeah,
what's the point in having laws if
well,
they're not enforced?
that's what Paul says in Romans 6 and Romans 13. If you read Romans 6, like 14 and 15, it says, do we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. And then Romans 13, 8 through 10, it says that, like, love your neighbor as yourself, the commandments that fulfill the law, and it lists the last 6 commandments of the 10 commandments.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about the prophecy one mainly. So in Daniel, in Daniel chapter 9, right? You familiar with the 70 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah, so you don't think that's talking about Jesus?
No, according to Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Lamentation, Daniel is a lie. You cannot have prophecy during the 70 years.
Wait, say that again?
According to Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Lamentations, you cannot receive, God abandoned them during the 70 years. And in Jeremiah 29, it even says a letter warning them that if anybody has dreams or prophets among them during the 70 years, they said, don't listen to them, they're a lie. So Daniel's a prophet having dreams during that 70 years.
What are you talking about? That's just like
talking
saying
about Jeremiah 29.
That's just like saying in Jonah or whatever that there's not allowed to be conditional prophecy or something. Because even the 70 weeks were also conditional. But
Yeah, God abandoning them. It says in all three of those prophets, God abandons them during that 70 years. It even says in Lamentation, it says your prophets are giving false and misleading prophecy and false and misleading oracles.
that's
So
why
you can't even get
Daniel
it. That's because God's gone.
that's why Daniel was praying.
What?
That's why Daniel was praying. Because he doesn't want
God tells them in Jeremiah, he tells the exiles, he sends them a letter through Jeremiah. He says this is a letter to all the exiles. He says, pray only for the city, for the welfare in the city in which I have sent you.
Yeah.
But he says, do not listen to the dreams that you dreams, or the prophets or diviners among you, for it is a lie that they are prophesying to you in my name.
Okay, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be any.
It's literally God saying, do not listen
That's
to
not what
prophets
that. How
or
is that what
dreams
that
that
means?
you
That's not even what
have,
that.
because I will not visit you again until the 70 years is completed.
That's not what that means.
That's exactly what that means.
Okay. No.
You
Let's
know
say
how
I,
words
let's say
work,
I
right?
grant you that. Okay. Let's say I grant you that.
You want me to read it to you?
I mean, you can. But
For
when
thus says the Lord
does
of hosts, the God of Israel, do not let the prophets and the diviners who are among you deceive you, and do not listen to your dreams that you dream, for it is a lie that they are prophesying to you in my name. I did not send them, says the Lord. He's talking to all the exiles.
Yeah, it's talking about something during Jeremiah's time.
Daniel's in exile in the 70 years.
No, he is.
And he's having dreams, right?
Jeremiah was probably already dead when that happened.
Jeremiah was alive during the exile. He
was.
He was.
But I mean, when the 70 weeks was.
He's in Babylon during.
No,
the 70 years.
You're right. No,
yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. Why can't you not tell me when the 70 weeks start? It just doesn't matter.
The 70 years.
No, the 70 weeks
years start when they're taken to Babylon. They're enslaved for 70
I'm talking
years.
about when the 70 weeks in Daniel 9.
Oh, well, that depends on how you look at it. It can start when the word goes out, or it just depends on when you think the word went out. Because the word went out before and technically after, so you can sort of say it went out before or after.
When does it?
Not very long.
When does it start? When do you think it starts?
I think it started before. I think it started in, I don't know, 595, 96 BCE.
How does it start there? There's no decree to
because that's when the word went out.
No,
yes, it was.
Is that when they restored and rebuild? Is that when they began to restore and rebuild?
That happens at the end of the 70 years when the exiles leave Babylon. He uses the beads to destroy Babylon.
It says in verse 24 and 25. It says, "Know therefore that the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem." That's not saying that's starting.
The creed. That's when the creed, the word went out for the creed, and the word went out before the exiles. There was prophets prophesying this stuff. That's when the word actually went out. At the end of the 70 years, this is going to be rebuilt. This is a prophecy going out before the actual exile.
Do you believe the 70 weeks are 490 years?
No.
You don't? How do you not believe that?
Daniel is a lie. It's a 2nd century forgery.
Okay, yeah. If you take the scholarly consensus on it's written in the 2nd century, they still say that they still say that the 70 weeks are 490 years.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't get you to Jesus either way you look at it.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
There's how many decrees is there?
There's one, and Daniel don't know it. Daniel's getting everything about Babylon wrong, whoever wrote it. That's how they know it's written in the 2nd century, because he's nailing the events of the 2nd century that happened during the Maccabean revolt, but he don't know squat about Babylon. He's getting all that wrong.
How does he not know?
because he
you
doesn't
guys,
know the lineage.
you guys literally got like debunked because
No,
the
we didn't.
scholars say like Belshazzar was not real, but then he turned out to be real.
No, Darius the Mede isn't real, and Belshazzar, according to Daniel, Belshazzar was Nebuchadnezzar's son, but he wasn't. He was 4 kings
That
later, and he
doesn't
was the son of
just because
Nabonidus. That's
just
why we
because
know Daniel don't know what he's talking about.
well Daniel would know Nabonidus. That doesn't mean just because son is
No, he
there.
wouldn't.
That doesn't
It
always
says
mean
Belshazzar was Nebuchadnezzar's son, and it wasn't.
yeah. That doesn't mean that it's like a son like a son of a father or something. That could mean like
What else is it supposed to mean? Why would he say
that's like saying
Belshazzar's Nebuchadnezzar's anything? They weren't even related.
that's like saying when the Jews or someone would say that Abraham was their
Well,
father,
it
Jesus saying
doesn't
he's
even
the son
matter.
of
It's not right because the Babylonian exile ends with Cyrus. Cyrus rebuilds the city and lays the foundations of the temple, according to Jeremiah and Isaiah.
well no, because there were other
Yeah,
decrees after Cyrus. There's a decree of Darius the first and Artaxerxes. So
okay.
yeah, so there were like 3 decrees, maybe 4 if you count Nehemiah, but if you start from if you start from Artaxerxes' decree, that happened in 457. That was the 7th year of Artaxerxes. Then, because you start from there, because Ezra's asking to like restore the law of Moses and
Yeah, that's what
bring
the new covenant
magistrates.
actually is. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why you start the
and that
70
happens when
weeks
Cyrus
from
frees the exiles
457, and if you go from
in
457
437 or so.
with 490 years, you actually end up like right at the timeline that Jesus would be doing his ministry and would be alive, because it says that an anointed one will
No,
be cut
man.
off.
What's
Wait, what'd you say?
490 minus 530? What's 490 minus 557?
Yeah, that's 34 AD.
Yeah, that's not 34 AD.
No, it is, because you don't count a 0 AD.
No, you said 557.
No, you 457.
All right, subtract
457.
490 from that.
Yeah, 457. Yeah, 490 minus 457 is 33, but it's actually 34 because there's no 0 AD,
33
or there's no
BC.
0.
33 BC.
No.
Yeah.
No, you take 490 from 457. So
if
it's
it was
like
the year 500 and you subtracted 490, you would be left with 10
no,
BC.
457. No, 457 minus 490.
I know. I'm saying if it was just straight up the year 500 and you minus 490, you still don't get to Jesus, because that leaves 10 BC. That's
No,
at least
yeah, if
6
you
years
do,
before
if you
Jesus is
do,
born, depending on which gospel you read.
if you do from 500, if you do from 457, yeah, if you do 500, it gets you to 10 BC. If you do 457, it gets you to
It gets you
34.
way before that, so it gets you even further from Jesus.
How does it? No,
It doesn't get you
457.
closer.
Yes, it does. It's 457.
Bro,
457.
dude, you're doing Christian math right now.
No, I'm not. Bro, what's 457 minus 490?
557 minus
No,
490 would
4.
be 67 BC.
No, 457. 4.
What happens in 457?
That was the decree of Artaxerxes. That's when he was ruling. Because
The
Artaxerxes.
Bible's not predicting. No, that's bogus, man. You can't. No.
Yes, it
You're
is.
just trying to use that. No, you're
What?
not. Dude, Artaxerxes is not a prophet of God, and it's not in the Bible.
Bro,
So that's
it's
a
not about
ridiculous thing to say.
Artaxerxes. It's not about
I was wondering where you're getting
Artaxerxes.
550. You're just saying that year because you need it to get you to Jesus through the math, but that's ridiculous. You're just lying on the
No.
book now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you
Because
are. There's no
that's the
decree of Artaxerxes in the Bible.
Bro, yes there is. Read Ezra chapter 7. What are you actually talking about? Read Ezra
Dude,
7.
what are you actually talking about?
If you read Daniel, if you read Ezra chapter 7, begin in like verse like 8 or 10, and then you continue through the whole chapter, he's literally laying out a decree. And also he gives another one in Nehemiah chapter 2. So he kind of gives two decrees.
You know when the Babylonian exile ended, right?
Like five something.
That's the end of the exile. That's when the new covenant takes over.
Why is the new covenant? Why are we talking about the new covenant?
Because that's what the Babylonian exile is all about, the new covenant.
Okay, yeah,
That's
the
what's
new
actually
covenant.
happening here in the Old Testament. Even Daniel
Yeah,
don't seem to know
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I
Like
know.
even Josephus says Daniel's talking about Antiochus Epiphanes the Fourth.
Yeah, well, he actually also says that it's Josephus also says it's talking about Rome. Also, he doesn't explicitly mention them, but he said Antiochus the Fourth is in
No.
Daniel 8, but in Daniel 7, the fourth beast would actually be Rome, and many of the church fathers thought
Nope.
that.
Yeah, Christians
Yes, they
think it's
did.
wrong because they don't actually know anything. It's ridiculous.
Well, if you think of it like that, like they can't
What
fulfill
kingdom does the Bible say conquers Babylon?
Yeah, Medo-Persia.
No, it don't say Medo-Persia.
It just says the Medes?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's why it's wrong, because
that was its own empire. The Bible's wrong now.
No, you're wrong, because you're trying to
The Bible
separate.
says the Medes. He says he will stir up the Medes against them. He says that
Yeah, that's Jeremiah 51:11. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But then he also says, every time Daniel presents the Medes, he always puts them with the Persians, because even in Daniel chapter 5 verse 28 it says,
show us where it says Medo-Persia then.
Yeah, I will. Daniel 5
Jeremiah or Isaiah.
Okay, Daniel, why do I have to go there? It's
because
about letting
that's
Daniel
where it says
operate.
Medes and not Medo-Persia.
Okay, I'll show you in Isaiah, actually, because if you
These
go
are
to
actually prophets from that time period.
Yeah, if you go to Isaiah 45:1, God is calling Cyrus by name to overthrow Babylon.
Yep.
So the prophets are aware that Cyrus is going to be the one.
And Cyrus is a Mede, according to Isaiah.
No, he's not. That's
yes,
Darius.
He is.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet?
Well, if you go to Jeremiah 51:11, yeah, Jeremiah
or Isaiah.
No. But I want to show you, like,
you're telling me Isaiah doesn't say that the Medes destroy Babylon?
No, he could. I'm not even trying to contest that. I'm just talking about Cyrus.
It says Medes.
Cyrus is a Persian.
Oh, just a second. Paul, are you there?
Yes.
You listening, Paul? You over 18?
Just listening. Yes. I'm 30
Are you
plus.
a Christian?
Yes.
Okay. Give me just a second here. Sorry.
I'm just listening if there's
it's getting
something
really bad.
wrong.
No, that's okay. Which one of these you want to talk about? I was going to move on anyway. I don't think I was getting anywhere with that fellow. If he's in denial that these are saying Medes destroy Babylon, then there's no point in talking to him any further. So.
I'm just listening to someone you speaking to. A Christian one said, you about the law.
Yeah.
Yes. What law you're referring to? Rape or something like that? Is something like that?
I don't know what you're asking me, man. What are you asking me?
That law is for is I'm not really good in English. My English is not my first language.
Yeah, that's all right.
I just want to know if that law is implemented in New Covenant.
Yeah, I still don't know what you're asking exactly. I know you're asking something about the law, but I don't know what you're asking.
Is there a law that is only exclusive or implicit to certain period of time?
Certain period of time, yeah. When Jesus says, "When heaven and earth pass away."
No, in Old Testament.
Yeah, no, it's forever in the Old Testament. God says you'll keep these laws all the days you live on the earth.
What about when God said about Canaanites? It is still a law in New Covenant.
I don't know what you mean.
Di say, di ba, in Old Testament, God said that kill the Canaanites, destroy them. Is that law is still
That was just a command, not a
New
law.
Testament?
That was a command.
Mm.
Yeah, it was just giving them other people's land, but you got to go take it first. Yeah, sorry, the other guy was just like, if you can't, like, it says Medes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue that it says Medo-Persia when it says Medes. Like, if you can't address that, then I'm just going to end up ripping my hair out. Yeah, thanks for coming up, Paul. It's a little hard to understand there, but I got to wrap up sort of soon anyway. Let's see. Oh, I thought we had another one in the queue anyhow. Anyway, if you are a Christian or a Hebrew Israelite who can address actual words, come on up and I'll throw another half hour or so in. If not, I'll chop her around 10 o'clock. Got some stuff there. Daniel's alive, man. That's clear as day. There's no prophecy during the Babylonian exile. Like, I've already said this. That's why I'm saying, like, everything I say, you just go back to what you were saying before. There's no point in having any real conversation about it. Like, if you can't address the words that's being said, I'm just going to end up ripping my hair out. So, yeah, I'm good. I've read Daniel. We all know what Daniel says. It don't say nothing about Jesus, and it don't say nothing about Rome. Greece is the final kingdom, clearly, because you have to count Mede as its own kingdom, according to the Bible and ancient historians. Not to mention Daniel's alive anyway. So. Anyway, you got let's see, I'll give you 3 minutes, and we'll see if we can get a new person to talk to. If not, I will take a nap, most likely. It's been a good show today, though. Had some good guest stuff. Even the last guy was a good guest. It's cool. It's cool in my book, but I don't know. Just can't rip my hair out, man. Counts Medo-Persia. No. No. Greece is the shaggy goat. It's about the Maccabean revolt, man. Like, any scholarship knows this about Daniel. Like, you can't convince me Daniel's prophetic against all the other prophets, against scholarship, and against what Daniel himself is saying. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I do have to work today. Although I have a light day, it's a little bit later. I have to get started today, where it's been pretty busy. Yeah, I do got to work today for sure. Actually, I could, like I said, I'll stay on. If we get another person to talk to, I'll stay on for a little while. But, well, a little while longer anyway. Yeah. That's right. Anyway, if you are a Christian or Hebrew Israelite, and you are capable of a conversation like an adult, come on up and holler at us. We want to talk to you. Got just a minute there. Yeah, I slept kind of shitty last night. I've read on those. They're just the ones that was like the recluses that wrote about the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Their language gets used in the New Testament a lot, I think. Yeah. I mean, God's just telling them to do something's one thing, and then like a written law that you have to abide by in daily life. So a little different there. Oh, maybe it makes sense, I guess. I don't know. I like all things history like that, the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff, but I mean, their theology don't really mean anything special to me. Any more than anybody else's, I guess. So, interesting stuff, though, for sure. All right, well. Algorithm is sort of decent today. It's better than it has been, I'll tell you that. I hit a new little stage thing in the journey part thing when they do on the lives, though, so that's kind of neat. Anyway, I'll tell you what, give it 5 more minutes, just since I'm in a good mood there. But Christians or Hebrew Israelites only. Come on up, though. The stage is wide open. We need somebody new to talk to. Let's tell tomorrow when I get my new. Gotta redo the little board again. Why would you? Who starts in 457? Like that's ridiculous. I don't mean nothing to nobody. The Artaxerxes decree. That's funny. There was nothing going on in 457. The exile had ended a couple generations prior. Come on, come on. No, it's not. We have a scholar. There was a scholar on right before you got up here. Like that's no, there's no scholar beyond that. I don't know where you're getting that from. That's funny. All right, Christian or Hebrew Israelite, come on up. You got about 3 minutes. Then we'll chop it out if we don't get somebody to talk to. This is Lucifer. Scary. I suspect that's the number they need to make it land right about Jesus' lifetime. You can't do it anywhere else around the exile, so you got to move it out about 70 more years. Well, 40, yeah, 70, 80 more years. The math wasn't mathing right there, so you got to move it to a different year. Some of that Christian math they do. You know how they roll. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. 1 equals 1,000. 7 equals 3. Lots of good Christian math in the book there. Hey, there's Mac. What up, dog? What up, Mac? It's been a good day. If we get somebody else to talk to in the next couple minutes, we might talk to somebody else. Hello, Lilith. What up? What up? What up? Yeah, been a pretty good day. Been a pretty good day. Yes, exactly. 1 equals 1,000. 1 year equals 7. 3 equals 7. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. 2 days is actually 3 days. It just, it depends. Well, shit. We got somebody here. Let's see.
What's going on?
Jay, hey, what's up, buddy? Are you over 18?
Yeah.
Awesome. Are you one of the Christians or Hebrew Israelites?
I'd say I'm a Christian. I'm a Bible believing Christian.
Cool. So which one of these topics you want to talk to us about, brother?
You say you bet your soul. So you know you have a soul. That's one. So you believe in something. What's your ultimate authority, if anything?
Marduk.
Marduk?
Yeah, the god Marduk. He's the true god of the universe.
That's the truth. Well, let me look this guy up real quick. I never heard of him, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yahweh stole his valor in the Bible.
But you heard of the Bible, though.
Yeah.
And you got here into this world, like you just spawned in and the Bible already existed. That's two. So who made him up? So who made it up?
Marduk.
And so Marduk made it up.
Israelites made the Bible up. No, Israelites made the Bible up, but Marduk made up the universe. Yeah.
When you say Israelites made the Bible up, so the authors that like Paul didn't exist, Matthew, Mark, Luke, they didn't exist. None of them existed to you.
Oh, I don't know. Paul probably existed, but whoever
You don't
wrote
know?
the Gospels is completely anonymous. Nobody knows who wrote
Because when
those.
you say "I bet my soul Christianity isn't true," that's an absolute certainty claim. That's an absolute certainty, right? You're
Well, it's a
absolutely
bet.
certain. It's a bet,
No,
but
it's a
are you
bet. Yeah.
So if that bet is wrong, would you be in fear for your life,
No.
or you wouldn't care about life?
Well, I wouldn't be scared of this book's reprisal.
So I'm saying, if what the book says is true, that means you should be in fear for your eternal life, no? Because you're betting your soul that it's not true. You bet
maybe
your soul.
I should fear it, but I don't. I think
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like, but if it you're saying that it's a bet, so that means that you're not absolutely certain.
Right.
So that means that, if you're wrong, then your eternal life is basically in perish. You're gonna perish. Is that what you want?
Yeah, no, I just don't think that's the case. This is clearly a bunch of nonsense, like I said.
So, I mean, when you look at have you checked up? Why is it only the Christianity? Why is it only Christianity? Why don't you say what does Marduk say about the afterlife? What was his name? Marduk. Let me look this guy up.
Marduk, yeah. Oh, there's no afterlife.
There is no afterlife, so you just cease to exist.
Yeah, yeah.
So before this life, hold on. So before this life, you was basically non-existent, right? And then you just popped up out of nowhere. You just spawned in, right?
Well, my parents had sex, and I was born as a result when
you say your parents had
mixed with the.
That's what I'm saying. So like basically, but before that, if your parents never had sex, you would have never existed. Basically, that's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
So if your parents made you, like they choose how, like who you was gonna be, like how you was gonna look, the color of your eyes, how tall you was gonna be. They did all that too. They made that choice.
No,
it was just like, they just had sex. So basically, let's attack the sex.
Work and stuff.
Let's attack it. Let's attack it real quick. When you say sex, is sex something that your mom and dad made up, or it was like part of already a process that they were just.
What are you talking about? Yeah, sex was around a long time before my parents.
Exactly.
Like,
okay. Exactly.
Are you just gonna babble weird stuff?
Okay. Wait. No. Because we're gonna get to the nit. We're gonna get to the nit and gritty to the bottom line.
Let's get to that.
Let's get to the bottom line, because basically, what the Bible says about you, is that you're blinded. You're in delusion right now, because only the fool says there's no God. So at the end of the day, you say Marduk. Let me look up Marduk. Marduk, God.
Yeah, go ahead.
The God Marduk. Let me see what this guy is saying.
Marduk.
So you do believe in a God, but let's see what this God is saying. The God Marduk.
Marduk's the real God, yeah.
The God Marduk. So Marduk was the supreme deity and patron god of Babylon. So where's Babylon now? Babylon's gone. Where's Babylon? Damn. So Marduk couldn't even protect his Babylonians. Rising to the head Mesopotamian pantheon as the king of gods and creator. And hold on, let me finish what it's saying about Marduk. Don't you respect your God? Let me finish what it's saying about him.
I don't need you to educate me on my
No,
God,
but I'm trying to educate myself on this
Marduk.
Marduk.
Defend, like, one of these
Does Marduk have a book that I can read about him? Does Marduk have a book?
Why do you keep yelling? Why do you keep yelling?
Who's yelling? Who's yelling?
Are you okay? You are. Are you okay?
My fault is that I'm a real man created by the real God.
Like,
You're a baby, baby.
Well, have a good
You're
one,
a baby
everybody.
God.
Yeah.
You're a baby.
Yeah, that's a holy shit. That's a very cranked up child right there. That is a child who got into the Mountain Dew. He was jacked on that shit. Holy crap! What a crash out. Marduk really was not working at that guy. You do not deserve Marduk, sir. Holy shit. Wow. Who the hell would want to be a Christian if, like, that's the mind frame you're in? Like, holler about Marduk and asked if sex around before your parents? You got me there. Yes, that was another W for Marduk. W for Marduk there. Yahweh is a valor stealer. He's a thief. He stole the valor of Marduk. Oh shit, I didn't see you there, Mac. Might wrap up here in a second. Well, maybe I don't know. Yeah, that was not the type of conversations I'm into. Mr. J, I would like to talk to you, man, but you can't calm down. Like, you got to have an actual conversation. That's literally my only rule for this channel, is that you're capable of having an actual conversation like an adult, not just holler about you want to educate yourself on Marduk. Like, go do that and then come back. Until then, I've got some topics up here that I like to talk about. But if, educate yourself somewhere else, not on this stage here, especially if you're going to sit here and holler about it like a child. It's strange. Really, really strange, man. Yeah, crash out for Christ. He went insane for Christ there. Thank you, Medusa. Oh man, Christians, they get that Holy Spirit moving in them, and emotions and impulses take over, and they can't control themselves like children. No, that's Yahweh, man. Yahweh's a fake wannabe god. That's why he had to steal Marduk's valor from Cyrus. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad, man. I'll tell you what, Mr. J. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one more chance since you're in the guest queue here. But you got to be able to talk like an actual grown-up, okay? Or else I'm just going to drop you again. All right. Let's welcome back the king of the...
Let's get it. Round 2, baby.
Yeah, so... Are you calm? Like, are you okay?
Yo,
like,
I've been calm. Is that, I got real energy. Marduk doesn't give you that energy because Marduk is fake. He don't give you he don't give you that energy. Look, you look so sad like about Marduk. Hold on, because I was reading about Marduk
you got one
here.
of these topics you want to bring up here? Or?
So it said, I'm saying like because it's a bet. So you're not absolutely certain that Christianity is false. You're just betting on it.
Yeah, it's a bet.
So I would say,
bet, yeah.
Even if I was a betting man, let's say I was an atheist. If I was a betting man, right, and I really didn't know, and I was really actually looking for the truth, I would bet probably on Christianity because, Christianity is the only one that's telling you, hey, there's going to be an afterlife. Do you want to live forever? I mean, if that's not what you want, then I get it. If that's not what you want, then
I'm good. I'll pass on that shit.
You'll pass on that.
So, like being trapped
so
in
then that's
your
your goal is death. So your goal is death.
No, I don't know.
That's your goal. Basically, your goal is eternal death.
No, my goal is to live a good life until I die.
Until you die, and then that's it. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to just die and cease to exist. Who wants that?
Christians don't.
You're the only one.
You like the universe.
What kind of psycho doesn't want to see their families again? Like when people in your family pass away, the Bible's the only book that's telling you, hey, you're gonna see your loved ones again. You're gonna be with them.
Is this just
you don't want that?
Tribe you're on here?
Is that you don't want that?
Well, have a good one, buddy. You clearly aren't capable of any sort of actual dialogue. Holy shit. They didn't crash out quite as bad, but definitely still wouldn't shut the fuck up. Oh boy. Polly, thank you. Only a psycho wouldn't want to live forever and see their family again. Like, is this really the deepest level of thought some people are capable of? Yeah, shit. I forgot about Mac again. Mac might have wanted to turn with you. But sadly, I think that's the deepest level of thought some people are capable of. That's just a sad state of humanities. Oh man, yeah, my bad back. No, Yahweh has no power. Marduk has plenty. He's just not like a jealous, vindictive motherfucker. Like, he's content just being, the god of the universe. He don't need to like intervene in silly human affairs. Oh man, it's a shame he couldn't actually calm his ass down for a second. He would have been fun to have an actual conversation with, but I fear it was far out of his reach. Yes, we're demons now. Yeah, so yeah, y'all know me. Like, sorry man. Like, it'd probably be funny to talk to an insane person, but I'm not interested. I'm not arguing with stupid. You can't win arguments with stupid. So I'm here to talk to the people with the slightest bit of intellect that can actually be freed from the clutches of the cult mentality. That dude ain't it, though. Anyway. Man, yeah, you're dumb as fuck, all right. That's for sure. Anyway, guys, I'm going to chop it here and invest some other stuff in the day. What a good day it was, though. It was a really good day. Even the loon at the end there was kind of funny, so we got a little entertainment out of that. It was pretty funny. Yeah, it's so crazy. Some people are... Oh, man. I'm never not surprised by some people. Like, I mean, just the level of... It's just crazy. Like, oh, so you just want to die. You wanted to be over. You never want to see anybody. You're demons. Like, oh, my God. Oh, man. I bet it's actually bliss living like that, and like in his head, when life's that black and white and simple. And I'm sure you're just a brilliant motherfucker in the world when you're that dumb. It must be nice. It really must. It really must. I had energy before. I'm not a child. Like, I can control myself and have actual dialogue with people. I don't just holler at whatever dumb shit pops in my head. But anyway, guys, don't forget, the Rocket City Reason Conference is coming up this October in Huntsville, Alabama. And you can come, and you can get your tickets for that at RocketCityReason.com. And y'all saw him earlier, the brilliant Dr. Joshua Bowen. He writes all kind of amazing scholarly works, just like this one, Learn Ancient Hebrew, Volume 1. If you don't know absolute squat about Hebrew, this is your book. It teaches, right from the beginning, what you need to know right off the bat. It turns out just learning the alphabet's a major step in that. And you can do that right off. It's not even hard. Hell, I did it. It's crazy, isn't it? But guys, we will be back tomorrow morning. This was episode 107. And I didn't have to redo a reset today. And the algorithm actually ticked up a little bit. So it's like somewhat kind of sort of back to normal. It's still not like it was beforehand, but definitely a little bit better there. But anyway, guys, the Apostate Ape, the greatest of the great ape master debaters, will be back tomorrow to master debate the Christian's brains out tomorrow. It's easy work with this clown, yeah. It was easy, wasn't it? It is really easy to get your idiotic ass kicked off this live because you cannot have an actual conversation like a 3-year-old up here hollering. Like, my goodness. Anyway, yeah, we will catch y'all tomorrow morning and we will do it again. Polly, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We got the gold right at the end. Polly, thank you. Heck yeah. Hit the gold at the last stretch. I love it, man. Thank you all for the engagement today. It was an awesome show. I had a bunch of people here the whole time. It was awesome. I had people to talk to the whole time. We actually did what I prefer. I actually prefer to talk to one person for like 45 minutes, an hour straight. You know what I mean? Like, and we did that with the first couple of guests, even though the last guy, I think, realized he had nowhere to go, so he just kind of spiraled out after that. But either way, they were capable of conversation, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, guys, we will be back tomorrow. And Mr. J, maybe calm your ass down and come back tomorrow, man. If you never know. Maybe you'll receive some Holy Spirit power and you'll be able to calm your righteous ass down and talk to people like a fucking adult for once. But come back tomorrow and we'll give it a shot again. Or, maybe it'll last more than 30 seconds. But anyway, guys, appreciate y'all. Shira, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate y'all. And we will be back tomorrow to do it again. Guys, later, and much love. If you haven't already, check out my YouTube channel. That's also Apostate Ape. I put these replays on there every day. You can go watch the replay on YouTube, whatever your name was, last crazy guy. You can listen to yourself holler at me like a child. It's funny. All right, guys.